G5 jet. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back. eSIMstudios YouTube channel. We are live on Sunday afternoon. It is April the 12th, 2026. I want to welcome everybody back in to the channel for a little tech news. Now, I have one main story that we're going to get to. Pretty big. Actually, it's a very big story. In fact, maybe one of the bigger stories we've seen in a long time. But I want to welcome everybody in. Cameras, I know you can see a little over here. I need to add this part of the background in. I got some extra panels I'll probably put on there, but I'm using the Nothing Phone 4a Pro as a webcam, just trying to see what it looks like, testing it out. Before we get started, I want to welcome Lyca Mobile to the eSIMstudios YouTube channel. So I've been in touch with Leica Mobile, and they said, hey, we like your content. We like what you're doing. I forgot to ask them what video they came across, but they said, we've seen a couple videos of yours, and we were wondering if we could work something out where we could jump on board. I said, yeah, sure. I'm open, but I said, I already have a couple of other providers that sponsor the channel, but they said, well, that's good and all, but we got a deal for you that's going to blow away all of the other competition. I was like, really? What? Okay, well, let's go. What do you got for me? And they said, we're running a special right now with YouTubers on the tech sector of YouTube. But we have a special for your channel and for your viewers, as you can tell with the logo right up here. You can already tell where the story's going. So this is it's actually pretty incredible. It's mind-blowing how affordable this is. And there's no contracts involved. It's fantastic service. You can get 18 gigabytes a month of data, which covers 99% of people in the country. 18 gigs high-speed 5G mobile data. 10 gigs of 5G hotspot data. Unlimited talk, unlimited text to over 100 countries. That is insane. But what's even more crazy, if it could be any more crazy, get this. $7.50 per month. $7.50 a month. I was like, whoa, that is crazy. I was like, bring it on. So I'm very proud to announce eSIMstudios Leica Mobile partnership, special for you, the viewer. You can port your number over. You don't have to get a brand new number. You can port it over. The link is down in the description box. I just added it right before this live stream. Simply click that link if you want to get that deal. 18 gigs of high-speed 5G data per month. 10 gigs of high-speed 5G hotspot data, unlimited talk, unlimited text, over 100 countries available, and $7.50 per month. That is insane. So proud to announce Leica Mobile on board. They actually cover, I think they told me 98% of the country. So it essentially covers everybody, and it actually uses brand new 5G standalone data, so should get phenomenal speeds with Leica Mobile, and it supports all unlocked cell phones. So if you have a Nothing Phone 4a Pro, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but that's a very small that's a very small number of people. But if you have a Samsung, an iPhone, a Pixel, you're gonna be a-okay with Leica Mobile. So I'm proud to announce them. Link down below. Now, I also wanted to get into some before we get started, of our deals of the day. Deals of the day. I got a couple here for you, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make available to you, the viewer, show notes of every show. So if you want to take a little deeper dive into the topics that we are discussing, There's a link in the description box down below. You'll see it. It's maybe the, I don't know, second or third link. It's towards the top. It'll say show notes, and then below it there will be a link. I made that link accessible to anybody and everybody that's viewing this video. So show notes are available, and it essentially provides all the sources to the story. Not that I have to, but I know there's some out there that have reached behind the scenes and said, hey, where'd you find this or where'd you find that? So just trying to help everybody out. Deals of the day. You should see my setup here. I'm getting confused with what keyboard to use, what mouse to use. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 monitors in front of me. Is this really? It feels like I'm like an air traffic controller or something. Like I'm like, I got 2 keyboards. I got 1 mouse. So deals of the day. So let me show you what I got here. Let me show you exactly, and I got stuff ringing in my ear. Let me show you exactly what I got. So this is a really, really good deal. Let me share my screen here. Let me copy this link. Damn, you know what? I can't even move this mouse over here. You know what I'll do? Let me do this. First time with this setup, so it's a little confusing here, but we'll figure it out. Let's see. I got 2 deals of the day. So what we're going to go into is the first one. Let's go. The very, very first one. We're going to copy this. We're going to go up here. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you what I found online today. There we go. There we go. How's everybody doing? Are y'all doing all right today? How's it going? Hope you're having a good Sunday. Let me show you this deal today, and then I'm going to get into an actually really, really shocking, important update topic. Something we need to discuss. It's going to affect a lot of people. So let me share my screen. Here we go. So the very first deal of the day. I think we had a MacBook earlier in the week. Well, here's another one. It seems like the prices these things are going on sale. And I got the Apple MacBook Air. Now, this is the M5 MacBook Air. So this is the brand new one, brand new chip, 13.6-inch liquid retina display, 16 gigs of memory, 512 gigs of SSD storage. And it is, damn, it's 14% off. So it's at $109 off, something like that. $119 off. It's a pretty good deal. And you can see how popular it is. 2,000 people bought it last month, almost a perfect 5-star rating. So that link is down below. Let's jump into this next one. And this next one of my favorite. Speaking of sponsors, we just talked about Lyca Mobile. Thinborne has their case on sale. The Thinborne Aramid fiber case for the S26 Ultra on sale right now. You can grab it for $50. That's 27% off. 27% off, $50. That is a deal. That is a limited time deal. So trust me, y'all know I love Thinborne. Very, very good product. Very, very good company. They will not let you down. So go cop that. Links down below in the description. Actually, you know what? I don't think it is down below in the description. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add it right now for those of y'all that are interested. Real quick like, and then we'll jump into the story. Let me log into YouTube Studio. Hang on. YouTube Studio. Where are we? I got way too many screens here. Where is YouTube Studio? What the hell is going on? Here we go. Pull it over here. Open this up. Let's go in to my, I don't know why I chose dual stream, vertical and horizontal, and it just gave me horizontal today. So I don't know what's going on with that. Deal of the day. Let's throw in the S26 Ultra case, Thinborne S26 Ultra. Let's throw in the link. I just on it. Here we go. Sorry about that. All over the place today. We're going to get to the story, I promise. All right. Okay, got that. Now, let me copy this. Give me just a second here. Where's my show notes? Here we go. There we go. All right, so I saved it. Now the description box is updated. If you don't see it down there, you're gonna have to exit the stream and come back. So like click on another YouTube video and then come right back. It has to refresh on your end, and you'll see the Thinborne S26 Ultra case link down below. All right, so now that that's out of the way, let me pull up everything else that I got here and we'll get rolling. So we got some interesting news for everybody. So I put out, and I think we've talked about this a little bit in regards to the upcoming FCC ban on Chinese electronics, and let's be honest, more specifically phones, right? I guess you could say tablets too, but phones is the most common thing, the thing that's being pinpointed, and especially from the government. The FCC is looking to ban all Chinese phones. Now, this is down. All these few links that we're gonna go through to discuss this story. All these sources are linked in the show notes link down below in the description, so you can see all this that we're seeing on the screen for yourself. Chinese smartphones face a new hurdle for sales in the US. Again, we discussed this, but this is a part of the whole thing. We're going to discuss 2 or 3 stories and or topics, trending stories that are rolling through the news cycle, but they all go together. All these stories have come out in the last 4 or 5 days, and you can see where this is heading, right? You gotta link everything together. But when we do link all these together, it's not a good outlook for Chinese phone makers. If you're a Xiaomi fan, if you're an Oppo fan, Vivo, I know the X300 just came out. I think Flossie Carter just reviewed that. I know we had a viewer just the other day that said he just got one. The Oppo Find N6 Fold, the brand new, almost creaseless, foldable by Oppo. It looks like those are going to be non-existent, at least here in the United States. And the couple of stories we're going to roll through, essentially are going to lead down that road. So here's one of them. I'm not going to go over the entire story and or read the article, but let me highlight this article and we'll move on to the next in a second. So the FCC is proposing a new rule that would stop recognizing essentially the foreign laboratories that do their certifications on these Chinese phones, and it would essentially be targeting Chinese electronics and or cell phones. Now, this proposed ban, it stems from the FCC's concern that a significant majority of devices sold in the United States are tested in countries, this is what the FCC is saying, that a significant majority of these devices sold in the United States are tested in countries that do not offer reciprocal treatment to American testing facilities and standards. That's what they're claiming, potentially compromising the integrity and security of electronic devices. While not an immediate ban on Chinese products, this FCC vote is scheduled for later this month, April the 30th. It'll complicate the certification process for electronics, including smartphones, tablets, and these actions by the FCC to withdraw recognition from already approved smartphones and or electronics. So that means the FCC is looking to ban all current cell phones in the United States and future Chinese phones sold and or offered to the United States. Now, if this ban goes through, which I think it will, where there's smoke, there's fire, especially in this case. And if you're paying attention with what's going on in the news, I know stuff just broke this morning in regards to the Middle East, the Strait of Hormuz, the blockade of the Hormuz. Now, China's going to be pissed because they're gonna the U.S. is blocking all ships going in and out of the strait. Well, what about Chinese ships, right? They have their own deal that they negotiated with Iran, with the approval of their ships getting through, right? They've approved of that. So why is the U.S. blocking Chinese ships again? It's just to screw with them. Well, as you could see this morning, Trump also put a 50% tariff on all Chinese goods, including electronics, including tablets, including smartphones. And now this FCC ban is just another way to screw your enemy, right? It's just another way to mess with the Chinese and to mess with their products that they're trying to sell over here, including phones. So that this FCC ban that's probably going to go through and get approval on April the 30th is going to ban all sales of Chinese phones over here. Now, my concern is that it said in this article, it says current and future electronics and would withdraw recognition from already approved products. So, when you put your SIM card, say I have my T-Mobile SIM card and I put it in the new Oppo Find N6. What if, because when you put a SIM card in a phone, it essentially registers that IMEI that's tied to that phone. It's like a VIN number for your car, right? It's an identification number. It's like a social security number for each phone. Well, it said it would invalidate current and future smartphones and or electronic devices. So if they don't sell any future and or upcoming devices, but what about current? It did say current. So I'm getting to, what if you put your T-Mobile SIM card in that Oppo Find N6, the new foldable? It registers on T-Mobile. T-Mobile knows what phone you're using on their network. What if the government tells T-Mobile, tells AT&T, tells Verizon, the big three telecoms in this country, what if the FCC tells them, we want you to stop sending service? This could happen. We want you to stop sending service to all Chinese-based smartphones. You're going to be screwed. I don't know if it'll go that far, but the way things are going, I wouldn't doubt it. It's kind of unheard of, but the way things are going is it seems like every couple days we get worse news. And after seeing the news yesterday, after seeing the news this week, I'm like, this could be the death of Chinese phones. Now, maybe not in the world, but at the very least here in the United States. At the very least here in the United States. Now, let's roll into the second story, because this also rolls into the death of Chinese smartphones and or flagships in the world, potentially in the United States. So there's a thing called Ramageddon. What is Ramageddon? Ramageddon is a new term that refers to Armageddon. Obviously is the end of the world, right? Well, this is like a term that the tech world has come up with for the memory crisis. I'm sure most of y'all are aware, and maybe you haven't checked the price of a memory lately. Whoa. It has like freaking tripled. So this company sent me Oracle supposed to do a review on this, right? And I was like, damn, okay, that's cool. I'll do the review. It's like a little external storage you put on the back of your phone, right? But I was like, wait a second. This doesn't come with memory included. So I'm like, oh, no problem. I'll just buy a 2280 M.2 NVMe SSD, and I'll stick it in here, and then I'll review it. The cheapest memory I could find was like $158. When this time 6 months ago, I could get one for like $50. It's not $48, nothing too bad. It's tripled. So the price, and look, that doesn't go just for us. That goes for Apple. That goes for Samsung. They can use their own. All these big phone companies have to buy memory to supply their devices, right? The cost of memory has skyrocketed, and a lot of these, it's going to hurt these Chinese manufacturers more than it's going to hurt the United States manufacturers or other manufacturers. Because get this, Apple is like top 3 most valuable company in the world right now. Will it hurt their bottom line? Yes. However, they can ride this wave, this extraordinary spike in pricing for memory. They can ride it out. I mean, look, it's going to go down. We just don't know when. They're expecting it to be a couple of years, maybe 3 years. But they can ride this wave out. It's not going to destroy them, right? So they'll survive this. Google, same thing. They're top 2, top 3 most valuable companies in the world. They can ride this out. It's not going to destroy them. Samsung, they make the memory. They'll be fine. They're making like insane profits right now, so they'll be fine. So you got iPhone good, Pixel good, Samsung good. Where does that leave the other companies? That leaves them in the dust. Xiaomi, Oppo, that includes Vivo, Realme, OnePlus. This is where it's really going to hurt, because they don't have more money than God, like Apple and Google, right? This is where it's really going to hurt them. The cost in rising memory chips that they put for RAM and or storage. There was a point in this article, which you can find down below in the show notes link, where there are 2 main leakers in the tech world. One is Ice Universe, and the other is Digital Chat. Is that Digital Chat Station? He's an enormous leaker, tech leaker. And then Ice Universe, another enormous leaker. I'm sure I got him right here on the screen. Both of them are saying that they've heard behind the scenes, Xiaomi, from all these Chinese companies, Xiaomi, Oppo, which is the parent company of OnePlus, Oppo, Vivo, Realme. He's hearing they might not even manufacture their Ultra series devices, meaning their flagship phones, for a couple years. They may just take a break until the Ramageddon, until the price of storage and or memory goes down. That's how much it's eating into their profits, to their bottom line, their profit margin. So a lot of these manufacturers, so there's like an 80-20 split where there's been so much focus. What's going on, brother? There's been so much focus put on cameras and sensors that in the industry, it's called the 80-20 split. 80-20 split. 80% of the build materials, meaning if I have $400 to source all these parts, if I'm making a phone, and let's say I want to sell it for $1,000, but you can only have $400 in no more than $500. 500 is the cap, but we're shooting for 400. So to build this phone, and then whatever we sell it is profit, right? That's kind of how it works. The 80-20 split means out of that $400 I have to build that phone, 80% of it is going towards camera technology. It seems like a lot, but that's how the numbers break down. Sensors, development, software is an enormous expense. These sensors are very, very expensive when it comes down to parts in the phone. And remember, they don't just have one sensor. A lot of these phones have 3 sensors, 4 sensors, including the selfie camera on the front, sometimes 5. It's a lot of money. And then the other 20% goes to speakers, your vibration motor, the flex cables, the display, the memory. Well, the cost of memory has skyrocketed, and it's breaking up that 80-20 split. So if they have to spend more money on the storage, that means they have less money to spend on these sensors. You see what I'm saying? And you can't have a flagship phone, an ultra phone with ultra specs, and have a shitty camera experience. It just doesn't work out like that. They would get blasted in all these publications. Oh, the Vivo X300 sensors are total trash. Like, what? You know, it just doesn't make sense. So it's eating in, it's messing up this formula that they use. And these Chinese phone makers have said, we just may take a break. So that means there will be no Oppo Find X10 next year or X11, or there will be in China. Well, I guess it would be. There in China, there would be no more OnePlus 16 or OnePlus 17. They're literally thinking about taking a break, like not making flagship phones for the next 2 years. They would just make budget and mid-range phones. Like, holy crap. That's insane. But they don't want to take a loss, right? They're a company. They're in business to make money. So if they're not going to make money, if the numbers, you know, I'm sure they're number crunching right now. If they can't make money, if they're taking a major loss on producing these flagship phones, they're just not going to make them. Oh boy, what a disaster. And I think that's a real possibility. Yesterday I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know. I see the reasoning, but I just don't know if that's possible. It was hard for me to even comprehend such a thing. Now that I think about it today, and then now that we got the news from this morning coming out of the Middle East, I'm like, yeah, I can definitely see this happening. And it's not like these leakers have said they're just not going to stop making them. I mean, they are for the next 2 or 3 years, but when the markets come back down, prices come back down, then they'll continue making flagships. But it looks like we're going to have to go for the next few years without flagship Chinese phones. Now, in my shoes where I sit, I've never used an Oppo phone. I've never used a Xiaomi. Well, I've used one Xiaomi phone, but that was years ago. But like Vivo, I've never owned a Vivo phone. So like me personally, it's not a big deal. But we can't think like that. As a whole, as an industry, it is an enormous deal. This could have lasting effects for years to come. This is not good. The more options we have as consumers, not only the better prices, at least it should be that way, we should see, but the better competition we will see. Meaning, Samsung put out a phenomenal product this year. Oh man, that's going to put pressure on Google to step their game up with these Pixels. And same thing with iPhone, right? If Samsung and Google put out really good flagships this year, puts pressure on Apple to step their game up and to bring something new to the table. You see what I'm saying? So even though I or you, if you're in the United States, probably have never considered buying a Xiaomi or an Oppo or a Vivo, you should be concerned and you should be worried about them not being on the market for the next few years. This is an enormous problem. Now, it will. Now, yeah, I know. I wanted, this year was the first year I really thought I was going to get my hands on an Oppo phone. I've never had one, always wanted one. And ironically, about a couple months ago, before this all unfolded, I was really had my eyes set on getting an Oppo Find X9 Pro. I thought, I love the OnePlus 15. It's essentially a OnePlus 15, but even better if you can imagine that. So, of course, I would love it. And now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Not good news. Let me see what everybody's saying. I looked a bit more into this, and if this new law does come into effect, a lot of people have told me it may not last long, and it will have negative effects on both US and China. Yeah, it's not good. There needs to be open, and I'm not going to say free trade because that's debatable, but here's another thing. And again, I don't discuss politics here. That's not what I do. I don't even like to discuss politics in my personal life. It's just, but especially here on YouTube. But there really needs to be free trade, and all these tariffs going around, especially changing the tariffs. Oh, it's 55%. No, it's 35%. No, we lowered it to 15%. No, I'm going to do 100% if you don't do what I say. What? Like, that just totally jacks up, and not just for phones. I'm talking about like all the stuff that I have in here, all the electronics, probably 90% of it's made in China. Like, it's going to jack up everything. So these companies don't like that. Buyers and sellers, suppliers, the shippers, they don't know what to put on the bill lading, right? The work order, the purchase order. They're like, is there a 35% tariff? Is it 55% tariff today? It just jacks up everything. And it's just not good moving forward. Yeah. And thank you. If you want to take it, I strongly encourage, I broke everything down pretty easy. And I basically comes down to 4 articles. We're going to get into a couple more. Go down in the description box of this video. You'll see a link called Show Notes. Click on that. It'll pull up everything we're looking at here. It'll pull up the bullet points from each article and then a link to that article, so you can take a deeper dive. But I strongly encourage everybody to take a look. Just take a few minutes out of your day. Just scroll through this. It's very alarming when you actually sit down and read through what's going on in the tech world. And it's directly tied to what's going on in the Middle East and the Strait of Hormuz. Because this next story, look at this. Look at what I got here. Look at this. China's chip industry depends on one key piece of equipment from ASML, and the US is now moving to ban it. So the US is really the government now, not the people, not myself. Trust me, if I was president, I would have open trade, free trade. This is screwing up everything in the US. It looks like, from the look of things, the government is trying to screw China in every way possible. Here's another example. China's chip industry depends on one key piece of equipment from ASML, which is they're like TSMC. It's a competitor. They make chips, they manufacture CPUs, processors. However, the US is going to ban a key ingredient for them to make these chips. So that's what I said. If you really look behind the scenes a little bit, not pretty. Not pretty at all. So with what's going on with this, US lawmakers are advancing the Match Act. It's a bipartisan bill aimed at banning the export and servicing of ASML's deep ultraviolet lithography equipment to China. The legislation, this proposed ban targets key Chinese chip manufacturers like Huawei, like SMIC, like Huihong, as well as memory makers CXMT and YMTC, who are heavily reliant on deep ultraviolet lithography technology for their advancement manufacturing processes, including 7 nanometer chip class. The legislation seeks to modernize the U.S. export controls. They're seeking to have more control over the key ingredients that they need to make their chips. The U.S., I said we, not me, the U.S. is trying to prevent its adversaries from acquiring critical semiconductor manufacturing equipment they cannot replicate domestically. So they cannot just make this, manufacture this chip making equipment themselves. Their key supplier is in the United States. Now, this is going to maintain a U.S. technological lead, particularly in the AI department and chip manufacturing department. China's semiconductor industry, which has been striving to build domestic chip supply chains, but it really remains dependent on ASML in their deep ultraviolet lithography for higher end processes smaller than 28 nanometer nodes, and could face significant setbacks if a ban is enacted, and that train is moving forward very fast for it to be enacted. ASML, which delivers nearly 20% of its total revenue from deep ultraviolet lithography sales in China, would also face a substantial challenge in one of the largest markets due to the geopolitical restrictions that the U.S. is looking to set forward. Bad news. Bad news. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news today, but I wanted to do this all in one show. I didn't want to talk anything else because that's how important this is. And look, this is going to affect Xiaomi directly. Xiaomi has started to make their own CPUs, like Apple, or design their own CPUs, like Apple makes their own designs their own CPUs. Google designs their own CPUs. Well, Xiaomi's doing the same thing. In fact, they had their first come out about 6 months ago, and this is going to jack it all up because Xiaomi depends on the deep ultraviolet lithography via ASML, and we are going to cut off their supplies. Now, I don't think, look, this is just a personal opinion. Maybe everybody's different. I certainly don't think China warrants the I'm gonna pass, but not good for the tech world. I'll just put it like that. It looks like the United States is trying to do anything and everything under the sun to screw China. Because as you can see, they're looking to ban all their electronics, specifically phones, with the FCC ban. and with the now the RAM cost is just adding another issue to the topic, and that's not necessarily US imposed, but it kind of is, because the reason why the memory prices are going so high is because all the AI data centers are using all the memory. These AI data centers are enormous. Well, they got to store data somewhere. So what do you think they're doing? They're not storing data on paper towels. They're storing data on memory, physical memory. And what they're doing is they're buying up all the memory on the market and using it for these data centers. Well, that leaves me and you, that leaves companies like Xiaomi, companies like Oppo, companies even like Apple, shit out of luck when they need to buy memory for their upcoming phones that they're producing. And it leaves us shit out of luck for memory that maybe we have a new laptop that we want to upgrade our memory to, or you have maybe you bought a product here that you want to throw in the back of your phone. Well, guess what? This $30 product turns into a $200 product when you have to buy memory. See what I'm saying? So it affects everything. Even Ford, they have to have memory chips, right, for the operating system that's on their little Ford Sync or Mazda or Tesla, whatever. This affects almost everything. So you can see where that's going. Now, I'm gonna lead us into something else. Same topic, but this is really gonna piss off the government. I can already see where this is gonna go, and I tell you, it's not gonna be good for a United States company. Matter of fact, so this last article I got here, it's interesting though. It's very interesting. So check this out. Qualcomm is now reportedly developing custom DRAM for smartphones with China's CXMT. So we just got done talking about that new deep ultraviolet lithography from ASML in China, and how the US is cutting essentially stopping their supplier from getting them their essential needs, right? Oh, look what Qualcomm is doing. This is crazy. So the CXMT is a chip manufacturer. And what Qualcomm is doing, and if you didn't know, Qualcomm is actually it's a US company. They're based in San Diego. They have their Qualcomm Developers Conference every year in Hawaii. But it's a United States company. The RAM costs have gotten so extremely insane that Qualcomm is like, you know what? Let's develop. And it's a really good idea. I mean, it almost leaves them with no other option with some of these companies that use RAM, that they need to go, because there is essentially no RAM to buy. And the RAM that there is to buy, it's skyrocketed in price. It almost makes it not even worth the company to produce the product, which is why these Chinese phone manufacturers are just going to stop making their flagship phones for the next 2 or 3 years. If you just joined us, we just discussed that maybe 10-15 minutes ago towards the beginning of the show. It's a real thing. They're going to Oppo, no more flagships. Xiaomi, no more flagships, like for the next 2 or 3 years. Crazy. But these insane times is what it will force companies like Qualcomm to just make their own RAM. Say, well, shit, I can't buy it. We got a business buying this RAM because it just won't be profitable selling our product with these supply costs. So Qualcomm says, you know what? Let's go out and make our own RAM so we can continue with these profit margins. We can continue business as usual. This is not going to go well. I can almost guarantee you that the United States government will find out some way to axe this deal, to put a stop to this. They don't want any United States companies doing business with any Chinese companies. It's It's just how it is. And us, the end users, always get the short end of the stick. We always get screwed. But it could put huge American companies out of business. And that's the other side of the thing that I'm like, I don't like what are we doing? Like I don't. And of course it's all going to be under security. They could be spying on you. And look, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know, right? But to just axe and essentially square off the market, corner off the market, elbow some of these companies out of business, is that the best idea? Is it really? China will retaliate, and again, we saw that movie not too long ago. Yes, they will, and they are very strategic. I'm sure they already have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and E, while the United States is struggling to come up with a plan. I mean, just look what's going on in the Middle East. There is no plan. They're just throwing shit on the wall to see what sticks. You can't do that when in geopolitics, especially when it comes to, messing up billion-dollar industries. You can't go in there without any plan whatsoever. China's got something up their sleeve. I know that. They've always been known to have very strategic, right? I doubt it's the death of Chinese phones, but you're right on, the geopolitical wars are getting out of hand, and we the consumers always get screwed over. Yeah, we do. Yeah. You were close to buying a OnePlus 15. See, I think you're still good. I think you're okay buying a OnePlus 15, honestly. Because look, legally, there will be one, even though they're backing out of the global market, they're only going to operate in China and India. But if they still want to run an Android-based operating system, even on their phones in China and India, they still have to comply with Google Play services. Google Play services, by law, legally, they signed that document when they put Oxygen OS on the OnePlus 15. They legally have to hold up their end of the contract for their update policy, meaning if they're promised 5 years of updates, they have to give you 5 years of updates. And if not, Google can pull their contract from their remaining phones, and OnePlus does not want that. So if they do not update the OnePlus 15, it could be bad news for the rest of the company. That would jack up their plans in China, and because they're going to put Color OS on the remaining OnePlus phones in China and India, but Color OS is Android based. So OnePlus will still update the OnePlus 15. So I still think it's going to be a great phone moving forward. Now, will you get a ton of new features and get feature drops and all this and all that? Probably not. Let's be honest. They're probably not going to focus as much as they would on providing new software features as they would if they just continued business as usual in the United States. Of course, they're going to be pushing features. They want people to say, oh, cool, did you see that? Or they want people like me to make videos about this cool software feature. There is going to be none of that anymore. So they still will update the phone. It still will be secure, and they legally have to. But it's still a great phone. Even if you just left it as is, left the operating system as is, but just updated security, right? And then every month update security patches, and then once a year upgrade to the new version of Android, it's still going to be a phenomenal phone. I would still get it if I were you. If that's an option that you were considering, I would not get rid of that consideration. It's still a great phone, and I think you would be very, very happy with it. So you're still good with it. Yeah. I don't think that should discourage you from buying one. And I think it will be a classic phone. I've said that for the last few days. I think it will be a classic phone. Hello. All right, Reginald. I appreciate it. I will check Telegram out here once the show is done. Thank you. The OnePlus 15 is still on sale at OnePlus US website and will still get 4 years of updates. Exactly. Exactly. Now, the FC at the end of this month, see, OnePlus, even though they're not going to release a OnePlus 16 next year, or 17 or 18 in the global market, they still have stock. They still have OnePlus 15 units stacked up in a warehouse somewhere that they produced that they need out the door. They still need a profit. They still need to make money. So yeah, they're still going to sell them. But once those are all sold out, no more. Or the FCC, once this ban kicks in on April the 30th, that could potentially stop the sale of the OnePlus 15 on the US website for OnePlus. We're just going to have to wait and see. I don't know where this is going. All I know is it doesn't look good for Chinese phones. But subscribe to the eSIMstudios YouTube channel. I'm going to definitely stay on top of this story, this topic, see where this goes, and keep everybody updated. Does not look good. But yeah, they're still going to sell OnePlus 15s. They sure are. Until they can't, right? Let me ask everybody, if there was a ban on Chinese phones and we owned one, would we get updates for them, or would we not get updates anymore? I thought about this last night. It's a phenomenal question, and I really appreciate you asking that. And here's the answer. I've been thinking about this for a good 12 hours. And thank you, because I should have included that in my show notes, and I didn't. I would have been kicking myself after the show because I didn't hit on this topic. The answer is I don't know. And I don't think anybody does. If somebody tells you yes, I don't think they're being honest with you. If somebody tells you no, I don't think they're being honest with you. The only real answer we can come up with right now collectively is I don't know. Because it seems like every day, every week, something is changing. Something is going on behind the scenes. Well, like I said before, it's pretty apparent the U.S. government is trying to screw China every which way under the sun on all sorts of stuff. Now, here's what you're going to be worried about. Typically, if you asked me this last week, and we knew some of this stuff, but not everything that we've talked about, I would say, yeah, you still get updates, right? And I think I just said that. But I just remembered, what if this FCC ban, they want to ban all certified electronics that were certified originally in China to be not available for sale or use in the United States. So again, does that mean all future Chinese phones will be barred from sale inside the US? Yes. But could it also mean that they cut your service? What if they go to the, like I said earlier, what if they go to the telecoms? Your SIM card, you put your SIM card in a OnePlus 15. That T-Mobile SIM card you put in your OnePlus 15, it's telling T-Mobile your IMEI, your EID, your ESN. They know what phone you're using. Have you ever put happened to me just a few months ago. You put your T-Mobile SIM in a OnePlus 15. You log on to T-Mobile website to pay your bill, do whatever you do, and it shows what phones you're using on what line. How does it know I'm using a OnePlus 15 if I didn't buy it from T-Mobile? See what I'm saying? So what if the FCC went to all three major telecoms and said, we want you, telling like a T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T, what if the FCC said, we want you, T-Mobile, to cut service to any IMEI, to any phone that is China-based? And that's it. Boom, hit the hammer like a judge. That's it. Or else, dun dun dun. What do you think T-Mobile's going to do? They're going to cut service to any phone on their network that's Oppo, that's a Vivo, that's a Realme, that's a OnePlus, a Xiaomi. At this point, anything is possible. So, I mean, stuff's going upside down quick. So I wouldn't put it past the government to do that. And again, we get screwed. So I don't know. I have no idea. I wish I could give you an honest answer. I don't think anybody knows with this government. BXD, well, it might be on sale on their website now, but the ban on Chinese phones hadn't gone into effect yet. Yep. What about Motorola? Ooh, good question. So, very good question. Lenovo is the parent company. However, they do have a US headquarters in Chicago. Now, if you go on their website, it says Motorola Mobility US. So, honestly, I don't know. Even though Lenovo owns them, damn, I don't know. And see, again, I don't think there's a right answer. We're just going to have to wait and see, because there's one or two things. I can see the government saying, well, it is Lenovo, and Lenovo is a Chinese company. Well, screw them. We're just going to cut them off. And then they get cut off, and that's it. Or I can see Motorola saying, going to the White House or Capitol Hill or wherever, and saying, pleading their case and be like, look, yeah, Lenovo is the parent company, but we're really US based. We have our headquarters in Chicago. We have executives here in Chicago, in the US, and we sell it under the Motorola Mobility US umbrella. I don't know. I can see them. I can see, and then I can see the US saying, okay, well, you can only sell, a certain model of phones or whatever's on your US website, or I have no clue. I can see it going either way. Man, what a mess this is. If this ban does go in effect, BXD, that phone on their website might not be for sale for people in the US. No, it won't. It will not. And it's a shame. What if you're trying to buy the Motorola Signature off eBay? Does the FCC ban affect this for me buying a new phone? If you're buying a Motorola Signature off eBay, you can still do it. That would fall under a personal sale, meaning you're not buying it from Motorola on eBay. You would be buying it from Joe Dirt in India. See what I'm saying? It would be like classified as like a personal sale, right? Like a aftermarket sale, because they're not the original seller of that UPC, of that product, right? So you would still be okay. The only potential issue, as I mentioned before, we'll have to see where this goes, because what if the FCC says we want to cut all Chinese phones on all these telecoms, on all of our US telecoms? Could happen. But the chances of that are probably, honestly, they're probably small. But again, at this point, I think anything's possible. Again, I don't know. Just whatever you purchase, make sure you have a decent return window. And you can always sell it on the aftermarket. Well, shit, if they cut service to it, it's gonna be hard to sell. But I don't know. I just don't know. It will possibly affect Motorola if that's a Chinese built phone and it gets banned, put into play. Yep. Yeah. Will it be around? Will it be ways around it? Because I really want to get the phone right now. I don't have a phone. My phone went out on me about a month and a half ago. I was hoping to get Motorola Signature. If you really want it, get it. Honestly, I don't think at this point, if you're gonna buy, if you had plans to buy a phone, a Chinese-based phone, I would get it before the ban happens, right? And my only concern is, again, what if the FCC cuts all telecoms to Chinese-based IMEIs, right? So I would say get it now and before the ban really kicks in, because you won't have that opportunity in the future. And I don't know how long this is going to last. Probably up until who is out of the White House, whenever somebody new comes in, they'll probably wipe all this away with a clean slate, right? At least I hope so. At least I hope so. But we'll just have to wait and see. I don't know what the hell is going on at this point. Yeah. Not much you can do. If there's a federal ban, it's for good. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, you should still be good. I think you'll be all right. What's going on, Daniel? I like the. Oh, you're talking about OnePlus or the Signature? Probably Sandstorm. Just remember, OnePlus 15, the black and the sandstone is different. Is different color. I mean, is different materials, right? Different materials. Black is cool. I got black on the OnePlus 15, and I got black on the Motorola Signature. Just look really freaking nice. Yeah. Right. Motorola Mobility. I'm not surprised at these Chinese companies getting screwed over. When Huawei got screwed over, it was the beginning of the end. And that was a while ago. And they've done okay. They've survived. You know, and they might, I don't know, some other, of course, they got Google Play services got pulled from them too. Now, if this FCC ban does go in effect, companies like Oppo, companies like Xiaomi will still have Google Play services afforded to them, meaning they'll still have the opportunity to have Google Play services on their devices. They just can't sell them over here. So they'll be able to sell the, I don't know, Oppo Find X9 Ultra in China with, well, I don't know. They're weird like that over there with Google Play services. In fact, I'm not going to misspeak because I do know it is kind of iffy, but they should have Google Play services available for them on their devices, just not being sold over here. I'm not so sure this would mean for the Chinese version, since global version all goes through FCC approval testing. I know for sure my Xiaomi 17 Ultra does. It's easy to find in the settings. Yeah, but we're talking about future, like on April the 30th. So if you have a Xiaomi 17 Ultra, you're using it right now, good for you. You're lucky. But we're talking about future. So if you go down in the description, there's a link, show notes. Click that. It'll pull up 4 articles that I reviewed here, and I'm not sure when you joined us, but there's a number of things that are going to screw these phones. Ramageddon, the price of RAM soaring high. The FCC ban on all Chinese electronics and or smartphones. Those 2 things alone are going to screw them. Now, Digital Chat Station and Ice Universe, the 2 biggest leakers, essentially phone leakers of information, upcoming products, both of them said this week they've got word from insiders, people inside these companies, Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, that they are all considering taking a break on manufacturing Ultra devices, their flagship devices. They're just not going to make them for the next 3 years. Now, not specifically because of the U.S., because of the U.S. ban. Let's face it, they don't sell that many here. But all that does go into play a little bit. That mainly has to do to the rising cost in RAM. It's just too expensive to manufacture an Ultra phone today, right? And we went over the reasons why Apple can still do it and they'll survive this. The reasons why Google, right? Samsung, but anybody else may be screwed. Even nothing, right? You've seen them have to raise the cost of their phones. Well, once you get past $1,500, not for nothing, but I'm talking going back to the Chinese smartphones, the flagships, it's not worth it at that point. That's why Digital Chat Station and Ice Universe said that they're just going to take a 3-year break on making ultra phones. They'll just sell budget phones and mid-range phones. So I think we're going to have to start getting used to this, unfortunately. Does not look good. I got to get out of here. You hate when the federal government... Yes, I do too, don't you? Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I'm glad I have Samsung. It was made in Korea. Yeah, and they can afford the memory. They make it. So Samsung will be A-okay. You can just ride off to the sunset with a Samsung phone. From here on out, you'll be just fine. Again, Google, they'll be fine. They're gonna ride this wave out, and Apple will be fine too. Apple just secured the next 3 years of RAM prices and memory prices from Samsung. So no matter if the price goes to 20x on the memory, Apple is locked in to a specific dollar amount on each specific memory size for their iPhones, for their iPads, for their MacBooks for the next 3 years. Very smart thing Apple did. So they'll be fine. But everybody else, not looking so good. Meanwhile, in Canada, 50,000 EVs are going to be on sale this year, increasing every year for the next 3 years. I could do a whole show on electric vehicles, Canada, China, the US. It's a complete joke what's going on with those. I don't know. Well, I do understand it, and it's just a load of shit, honestly. These Chinese EVs are freaking badass. You know what I want to get is a Xiaomi electric vehicle. The SU7 is awesome. It's insane. It blows Tesla. All these Chinese EVs make Tesla look like a piece of shit. Let's be honest. They charge, and like, you can charge this new Xiaomi car like faster than what you can charge your phone. Like, think about that. And it takes a Tesla like hours to charge. You can charge this new Xiaomi phone in like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. It's crazy. And they last twice as long, the distance. And then get this, they're like half the price. They're the fastest thing on the road. It's like, I didn't want to get started, damn it. Maybe we'll do a show on that sometime soon, because I really get worked up thinking about that stuff. I wish they were available here, and of course they're not. I'm curious. We require price increase to the tariffs that use the Chinese. What another joke, man. Still hadn't come out. It's been like a year and a half. Thinking you can hold your hand over your butt for that Trump phone. I know. I got a OnePlus 15. I'm now planning to buy the iQOO 15 Ultra. These two phones are my favorite. I would do it now. Definitely do it by the end of the month, because the way things are going, like I mentioned earlier, here in 2.5 weeks, might not be possible. Wow. Yeah, I want one. I might have to pull the trigger on one here in the next couple of weeks. I want to get my X9 Pro that I've always wanted. Plus, if it gets banned here, the prices on eBay on the aftermarket are going to skyrocket, because they know people like you and I that are trying to get our hands on one. Well, now we're going to have to pay more, honestly. So in the OnePlus 15, probably going to go up a little bit. I don't know about it on the US website. Well, if that ban takes in effect, they won't be able to sell them. So yeah, if you're interested, I would get one now. I would definitely get one now. Look, guys, I absolutely gotta get out of here. I really, really appreciate the time. I wish I could go through the remaining. I'm sure you hear my phone blow up. I wish I could go through the remaining comments. I really enjoy spending time with you all and talking technology and discussing everything that's going on in the world of technology. But life's calling, and I gotta roll. But appreciate the time. Thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel, because I'm gonna stay on this, and I'll be sure to update everybody with what's going on with these Chinese electronics, Chinese phones, if they're going to get banned, if the FCC is going to force the U.S. telecoms to cut service to all Chinese IMEIs. I'll stay on top of this for everybody. So I really appreciate it. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the weekend. Please stay safe, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.